Alright, welcome back. In this episode, we're going to be building our in-game menu screen. It'll, for right now, just read the items. I'm going to attempt to get it to print out the stats down here in the console area. And then we'll be able to return to the game and probably quit it. I'll add some placeholders for save and loading buttons, as well as sorry about that, for an equipment panel that we can probably create later on. So, I guess let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to create our new scene. Alright, we're going to go ahead and choose other node, and we're going to add in a canvas layer this time. And we're going to go ahead and rename that by pressing F2. It's going to be UIRoot. This will end up being our main root node, so any other UIs that we might need to drop into our game, we can basically parent it to this if we need to. Alright, from here, how do we want to do this? I guess let's go into our inspector. Process should say always, and for right now we'll just keep it like this, and we'll just let's build it as we need to. So let's go ahead and go into our scripts, or create a script to add to it. Make sure this is going to be saved in our scripts. This is going to be UIRoot, which is fine. Create that. Let's Control S to save this. Make sure you're in your scenes UI folder and save that. Now inside of here, just because we are keeping things really minimalist, let's go ahead and add a class name for now. Class name. That way it'll be easier to reference later on. Alright. Again, as always, I will explain these codes towards the end of the video, so if it gets quiet, I do apologize. sorry, lost place on my notes here. Alright, so there's that. Expected identifier in class body. Let's see here. And already variable here. Right there. Gotta fix that. Alright. Let's see. Now for our input maps, let's go to project settings. We're gonna go to input map. Let's see. We're gonna add an action. We'll call it UI_menu. Does not like, for some reason, UI_menu, but I don't have it there, so that's really weird. So let's just type in menu. It doesn't like that either. Okay. UI main menu. Alright, it likes that one. Alright, so from here, what we're going to do is bind it to the escape. So now when we press escape, it will call UI_main menu. And this is going to be the action, that will eventually toggle the menu. The menu call, right? So now let's go ahead and create our menu screen. So what we're gonna do is create a new menu. I'm gonna go ahead and press Control S just to make sure that's saved though. And we're going to other node. CanvasLayer is fine. Let's rename that to menu screen layer, and then from there, what are we gonna do? Let's make sure that the process is set to always as well on that, and let's add a color rectangle. We'll name this dimmer because that's what it's going to do. It's going to dim the screen a little bit. Let's go to here and make sure that it is full rectangle. Change the color to black. Change the opacity to about 50%, roughly. Let's see. make sure your filter is set to stop. That way it blocks the any sort of click-throughs on the. That way you can't like click and move the character while this menu's up. Basically, let's go ahead and add a center container to our menu screen layer. So center container. How do I want this? In here, we'll add a panel. I don't know. Let's put it in the center since it's a container. Yeah. Right. And we're going to add a panel to that. And that panel is going to be named menu panel. Inside of there, we're going to have a VBox container. What I've been doing is, I know I haven't really been coming up here or right clicking. Control A is the shortcut for adding a child node. So, from here, let's see, rename with F2 VBox, adding some children in there. Let's go with the label. That will be the menu title. Come back up here to our VBox. We're going to go ahead and add some buttons. Press Control D to duplicate that a few times. And top one's going to be the items button. And in the text, we're going to say items. Oops. The second one is going to be the stats button. And the text will say stats. Then we have our equipment button. And it'll say over here in the text, equipment. Just like so. Let's add a little separator. So H separator for horizontal separator. It's just a little space there, so it's not all bunched up together. And we're gonna add a couple more buttons. Another separator, but that's gonna be underneath these guys, like that. And then we'll have two more buttons. Just like that. Alright, so these two buttons right here. We're going to have our save button. Save. This one will be our load button. Oops. Button. And we'll say load. And then this one will be our return button, and we'll say back to game. This one will be our quit button, and it will say quit. Very simple, right? So let's see, what does that mean? We're gonna move this up a little bit, something about like that. Alright, so for right now we're going to leave it like this. I might come back later on in another video, and because we're already at 15 minutes and we haven't even gotten it going yet, really. We just finished building it. So however, let's get it so that when we press at least the items button, the inventory pops up, shall we? Alright, so let's go ahead and save our scene. Make sure you're in your UI scenes UI folder. Just save it as MenuScreen.gd. That's fine. Alright, since we got everything put together, let's go ahead and attach a script to it. In the folder that I normally share with you guys for really long scripts and code, I do have a MenuScreen.gd script. As you can see, it's right down here. I'm just going to drag that up there. I will just drag it up there just like that in a second. What you can do though is if you want to just copy and paste it while you listen to it, or if you want to type it yourself from it, what I want you to do first though is make sure that you have the name right. So when you go to create your script, make sure you choose the path folder. We're going to go to your scripts UI folder, right? And this is actually going to be called menu_screen. Make sure that you get it right. It's also good to put it where it belongs in your UI. Mine is in the inventory. I'll move that out later. So make sure you drop it here in the main UI, right? Because it holds the inventory, but it's not the inventory. You know what I mean? So I shouldn't have put it in there. That was an error on my part. So, but then you can just press open and it'll go right there. In my case, I'm just gonna click on the one that I already have. Then I'm gonna press load to load that up. All right. I guess let's connect it all up, and then I'll come back. I'll double back and I'll explain the code and what it does. So go ahead and save right there. Let's go to our town, and make sure you click on town. We're gonna go ahead and instantiate our UI root. We're also going to right click on it and choose editable children. And on the root, we're going to instantiate our menu screen layer, like so. Now, the way the code's written out, it automatically is going to look for your inventory and your player scene. So if you've been following along with my organization, it should pop up. If it doesn't, just jump into the code, the main menu code, and make sure that you copy the scene path from your individual scenes for those. Otherwise, there'll be cause some issues there. The next thing you're going to do is in your UIRoot node, you're going to want to assign your main menu screen layer. So you can either just drag and drop it over, or you can click on assign, come down here and find it like so. Alright, the last thing is this input action. Now, remember, in our code for the UI menu, where is it? UI root, right? We put UI menu. Unfortunately, it had some issues when we were doing that earlier in this video. So remember to change this to UI main menu. That way it works. Go ahead and press Control S to save everything. Now let's go ahead and test it out. So we have our player here. We're still walking around. Yada yada yada. We're still able to run. If I press I, the inventory pops up and it closes. What happens if I press escape? I press escape, then we have our menu that pops up, right? We have our items, stats, equipment. We have our little dividers there. We have our save and load, back to game, and quit. When I press back to game, it goes back to the game. And if I press quit, it quits, which is good. And if I go to our stats, equipment, save, let's say save system coming in the future, load, it'll tell you that load's coming in the future. I should have probably added that for those, but I didn't. But if I press items, it goes to our inventory. Let me just press this. I and or escape maybe? Oh no, it doesn't. Uh-oh. We'll need to add that into here so that we can back out of that. So that's one thing we got to do to fix that, but it does pop up, so that's good. Let's get into the code real quick though. Alright, so up top we have, of course, our headers and class names, and then we have our behavior flags and scene references down here with our exports, and then our UI references down here underneath. They are, if you look to our menu screen layer, right? They are named accordingly, and all the paths are set up properly the way they need to be. Then when we come down here, we have our initial setup, and each of the buttons are connected with their handler functions. Beneath that, we have our opening and closing, as well as our toggling of the menu, which guards against a double opening, shows the menu visuals, remembers the previous pause state, and if pause on open is true, then it'll pause the entire game. The close guards against double closing, hides the menu, and then restores the prior pause state. So if it's paused, so it unpauses it if we paused it ourselves. In the toggle function, it's just a simple toggle convenience to for the code to open and close the menu. Next we have our root UI. We show it and then hide it as we need to, and then we have our buttons underneath that. If we haven't spawned the inventory yet, it'll instantiate it from the preloaded scene as a child of the menu's layer, so that it renders in the same UI space. As you saw, we do gotta fix that because it's not working exactly right. The menu didn't go away. I was able to open the menu with the I button, and that may be just something. I may just end up just removing the I input because it's no longer needed since we have it on the menu. But we do got to get it so that the menu can close. So our stats and equipment aren't working right now, and that's fine. We could actually just say add this in there. So we could just actually, if we wanted to, copy and paste this here and say stats panel coming in a future episode. Stats. We could do the same thing here with equipment. Copy that, paste that in. We don't need that second indent on either of those. And this one will be equip panel, and we can just move. Alright, so you can do that, and so those are just alerts for that. That'll pop up because we haven't done those yet, so that's fine. Let's see. Our return just closes the menu and goes back to the game. Quits the game, or the preview of it. Okay. Now we have our stats stuff here, down here in these ones, which should find everything that we need for it, and then we can start putting that in, and I'll add that maybe at the end of this video, but first I want to get that inventory working here. But it looks into our player controller because that's where we have our stats, and it pulls the get stats method that reaches out to the stats resources we created in like the second or third episode, and then it should pop up with all their stats by the time that's all done. So now let's try to fix that inventory. Alright, so I think the easiest way is to just add a back button to it. So let's go to our scenes, close our scripts right now. into our UI scene, and this is what it looks like. So I need to, that's right, this was supposed to be a close button, and it wasn't popping up. It definitely did not. Let me check something real quick. Okay. It sure did. I mean, knucklehead. It was right there the whole time. Over here, trying to figure out what I did wrong. And I forgot that I put a button up there. Maybe I should move the button down here. Oh, hey. Apparently I need, my WinZip is out of date. So, but apparently, maybe I should move the button down here. Or maybe I'll just change the way it looks altogether. I don't know. But anyways, it works. Everything works. So, if you want to, you can actually go ahead and remove the eye functionality. Now that we have that buttoned up, unless you don't want to do it like this and you want to make yours more like where you just press a key on your keyboard and it pops it up, so you don't have to do all the different button presses to do everything, right? So in the next video, that's when I'll probably start really getting into this stats and stuff. I'll connect that so that and create a small panel for that, and then not sure what I'll do next. I guess we should probably use items and equip items, right? So maybe those after that, or maybe combine into one. We'll see. Alright, but until then, I'll see. Keep learning, keep building. I'll see you in the next video.